بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, merciful, all praise is due to Allah, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His Prophet Muhammad, his family and his followers all until the day of resurrection. This is the fourth episode of the second pillar of Islam, as-salah. And of course, we need to learn more about the types of prayers. Although the 5 obligatory prayers are the most famous ones, and they are obligatory upon every Muslim who has reached the age of puberty. And of course, there are certain conditions when we do the prayer in a different way other than the normal way, and that's what I'm going to address. And when I say the age of puberty, I mean by that when a person has 3 or 4 signs. If he is male, then he has one of 3 signs, either reaching the age of 15, or has grown hair around the private parts, or has started ejaculating the sperm. These are 3 conditions or 3 signs of reaching the age of puberty. Now for a female, there's one extra sign, which is to start having the period, or the menstruation, as they call it. So if a person reaches that age, it means he or she has to offer the salah, and it's an obligation upon this person. There is no way this person would be excused as long as this person is sane and is a Muslim and free to do this prayer, is not in a way prevented by any means not to do it. Now, at times when a person is in a different situation, like if that person is traveling, if a person is a traveler, then that person can be excused to shorten and or combine the 4 rak'ah prayers into 2. And when we define traveling, we mean the distance of traveling coming to about 80 kilometers, 52 miles, as we recognize that. This is according to what has been calculated and converted from the farsakh at the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, until the modern measures as we have them today. So, or what is known as to be like a travel. If I travel from New Delhi to Mumbai, or if I travel from Riyadh to Cairo, or even if I travel from a small city to another town, 80 kilometers or more, but it has to be like away from the city. You can't travel within a city and say, I'm a traveler. You're not a traveler. You may be a commuter. You may travel from one place to another. Now I know in Riyadh, for example, you may move from the north of Riyadh to the south, and it takes you more than 100 kilometers. Do I consider this to be a travel? No, it's not a travel. I'm still in the same city. I can stop anywhere. It's not a travel. However, if I move from Riyadh to another city, to the east or the west or the north, any direction, then I do have a travel. From Mecca to Jeddah, for example, when you are an Hajj or a resident of there, that is considered a travel by people. Sometimes people don't consider it a travel, and if that is the case, then that should not be considered a travel, and therefore one cannot shorten the 4 rak'ah prayers. How do I shorten the 4 rak'ah prayers? Well, it is, by the way, sunnah, or something that is recommended to be done, and out of love and mercy of Allah, that He would give us this permission to shorten the 4 rak'ah prayers and pray only 2, and still get the same reward, because we are traveling. We might encounter some difficulties, and we might be tired because of traveling. We might to do the prayer in the normal way. That is a permission for us to take, and it is encouraged for us to take that permission. And as long as you can shorten, you can combine. Unlike the vice versa, when you are able to combine the prayers, you may not be able to shorten them. And I will come to explain that when we come to the prayer of the sick. But regarding the prayer of the traveler. If a person travels, it is up to him or her to shorten the prayer and to combine either in the first time of Dhuhr, for example, because you can only combine Dhuhr and Asr together and Maghrib and Isha together. And you cannot shorten Maghrib. Maghrib has to be offered as 3 rak'ahs, but Isha can be offered as 2 rak'ahs. And that is the shortening. Only the 4 rak'ah prayers would be shortened into 2. And we can combine them in either time based on the comfort that we might have, and depending on our schedule and so on. But there is a big problem that many of the travelers would forget or would be lazy not to do the salah in that time. Suppose you are riding a plane from London to Cairo, for example. You need to offer the salah if the time of Dhuhr and Asr would be out before you land in the other destination, in your destination, for example, in this case, it is Cairo. So depending, if I'm traveling from Tokyo to New York, obviously I need to offer prayer in the plane, or if I would find that possible to offer the prayer in the airport before I board the plane, that is the best thing to do, because you can do it comfortably, you know the direction and everything. Sometimes it would be difficult to find, but you can still ask the captain of the plane, you can ask these people in the crew who are doing the service to direct you. Now with modern means we know the direction, and there would be like a travel guide, and most of the planes nowadays with this computerized system where you in your seat can see where you are and which direction the plane is heading, and that would for you where is the direction for Mecca in order to offer the salah. Now some airlines offer like a place at the end or the back of the aircraft for offering the salah. And if for some reason you cannot do the salah in some open area where you can pray ruku' and do the sujood, you still can do it in your seat. And even if you cannot direct your face towards the Kaaba, you still can offer the salah in any direction. It was not possible for you, but don't delay the salah. The most important thing is to offer the salah in its own time, as Allah says, "Inna as-salata kanat 'ala al-mu'minina kitaban mawquta." Verily, prayer has been prescribed upon the believers within prescribed time, so we cannot offer the salah after the time. Suppose you go to the office or to your work when the office is closed or when the work is over. What is the benefit of going there? It's just like offering the prayer outside the time. You have to do it within the time, and it's so important. It gives you this nourishment. As we said earlier in the first episode, we talked about the significance of the prayer and also the importance of having this segmentation of the prayer, because Allah asks us to pray 5 times within different times: Fajr before sunrise, in the early of the day, and then Dhuhr during midday, and then in the afternoon, and afterwards at sunset, and then the night prayer, where we can do it either in the beginning of the night or towards before the middle of the night. And if under necessity, we can still do it until dawn time. So we have that lapse of time out of the mercy of Allah. But dividing the salah within these times would show us that we need to be at all times connected with Allah. That's why the salah of traveler person is so important. Also, suppose this sick person is in the hospital and he goes through a medical operation. This person has to offer the salah as long as he is or she is aware of the salah. If you're not, for example, under anesthesia and you're still having your control of what you do, then you need to offer the salah. Either do the salah before you get into the operation room, or immediately after this, when the effect of anesthesia is over, you need to get and offer the salah. Salah is so significant and important. We can't just do away with salah and we can leave it for sometimes a whole day or even days, as some people would feel like, I'm sick, I'm excused, I don't have to offer the prayer. Once I'm back home with my family and I wash and everything, I can offer the prayer. Wrong. This is not the case. You need to offer the prayer wherever you are under the best of conditions. Even if you cannot wash because you're not allowed to use water, or you cannot move from your bed, or you're connected with so many things hooked to you like an IV or something, then you need to offer the prayer to the best of your ability. Even if it's not possible to get you into the direction of the Qibla, you offer the prayer at any direction as close as possible to the Qibla or wherever you may be. So it is so significant in this regard, and I need to add more about this and the other types of prayer after the break. We have a break, so please stay with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. Continuing with the prayer of the sick, I mentioned the importance of offering the prayer in the status that you are in, regardless of this, and to the best of your ability. Allah does not ask a soul to do anything beyond its ability. As He says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. And therefore, in this regard, we say, if you are, for example, traveling in your plane or the train or the bus or your own car or the ship in the sea, and you cannot get off, or when you're riding a camel or an elephant or horse or whatever, and you cannot get off, offer the prayer before the time is over. When you are there, suppose there is snow outside and you cannot get out of the car to do the salah, do it in the bus, in the car, as you are, or if you're stuck in the traffic and you cannot get out of the traffic, you offer the salah in your own situation. As I said, before the time is over. But if you're a traveler, you can combine either from the beginning of time of Dhuhr until the end of time of Asr. For example, from midday, if you're a traveler, until sunset. You can do the salah in between. But if the sunset comes, you're still not being able to get out of the car or whatever you are in, then you need to offer the salah in there, inside that car or ship or plane or train or whatever, in order to relieve yourself of the responsibility and do this and be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, offering this great worship. This is very significant and important. And what about someone who is sick? As I said, a person who's sick can pray again based on the ability. Normally standing. If you cannot stand on your feet, for example, you are stuck in your bed, you can pray sitting. If you cannot even sit, you can pray to the side, either to the right or the left. If you're not able even to do that, then you can pray while on the back. If you're not able to do that, even on the back, because you're so hard to move around, then you can pray with movement, just moving your head, bowing for ruku', a little down for sujood, and so on. And you can do the taslim like this to the right and the left. And if you cannot do that, then you can do just this. If you can't even move your head because you have so much pain or because you're connected to some machines or other things, then you might just use your own eyes to do this. You know, you can just don't let the salah, as long as you have a pulse in your nervous system, as long as you have a spirit moving in your body, as long as you have consciousness in your head and you're aware of what you do, then you still need to offer the prayer. There is no excuse, and that's the importance of this prayer. Now let me get into Salatul Jumu'ah, for example. Salatul Jumu'ah is very significant, and many people do away with Salatul Jumu'ah. Salatul Jumu'ah is the Eid of the week, and it is a gathering for the whole community within a particular town or big neighborhood, and you need to get together and make sure that you meet your brothers within the community in Jumu'ah prayer. And the Jumu'ah prayer is not in position to be a substitute for Dhuhr. No, it is a complete ibadah by itself. And if one abandons 3 Jumu'ahs altogether in a row, this person will have this black dot in his heart. And as the time moves by and goes by, this black dot, may Allah forbid, for each one of us, will expand and expand until the whole heart is so black. And this person would not care anymore after that, whether this person prays Jumu'ah with the rest of Muslims or not, whether this person is praying his own prayer. His heart is so engulfed with darkness, and this person is not willing afterwards, unless Allah the Almighty opens his heart and cleanses this heart, maybe with some advice from someone, maybe with something happening in their life and they would come back. But normally a person would get all these terrible effects because of abandoning the Jumu'ah prayer. Jumu'ah is important. It's only 2 rak'ahs and 2 khutbahs. 2 khutbahs come before. And normally, khutbah would concentrate on reminding a person of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their duty as Muslims, touching upon a subject that is of concern to the community. And of course, those who are in the position of being a khatib know exactly what to do, and they should. I mean, this is the fiqh and understanding of how you deliver the khutbah, how you attract the audience. And I'm sorry that I can feel and see many of those who are doing or delivering the Jumu'ah khutbah would be somehow repeating in the same rhythm, the same way, the same old verses and hadiths, and just try to fulfill the duty and get away with it, and that would be it. Yes, the salah would be correct and valid in that form, yet it has not fulfilled its purpose of touching the great concerns and connecting people with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the hereafter, reminding them of the boundaries in different ways and different styles, something that would grab their attention, get them to listen. And every week you must, as a khatib, prepare for your khutbah and ask, you know, as a normal attendant of Jumu'ah, you need to be in connection with your own khatib. You have to be there. You have to always tell them that we are concerned about this and we need to be touching on this and that. This is so significant and so important. We shall not do away with that. We have to be proactive, in other words, and we have to get involved into what is happening in the affairs of the community, including the Jumu'ah prayer. And Jumu'ah, of course, is so important that it is a reminder. Sometimes, and according to the Sunnah, a khatib just only read Surah Qaf. One of the female companions of the Prophet ﷺ, may Allah be pleased with her, who said that I learned the Surah of Qaf from the mouth of the Prophet, peace be upon him, as he repeated that and said that during the Friday prayer. She learned that because he used to read the whole of the Surah of Qaf, Quran al-Majid, in the khutbah, and then reading in the first rak'ah, سَبِّحِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ الْأَعْلَى, and the second one, هَلْ أَتَاكَ حَدِيثُ الْغَاشِيَةِ. In these surahs remind us of the hereafter and the day of judgment, just like when the Prophet ﷺ used to read Alif Lam Tanzil, which is Surah As-Sajdah, in the first rak'ah of the Fajr prayer of Friday, and also in the second one he would read هَلْ أَتَى عَلَى الْإِنسَانِ حِينٌ مِّنَ الدَّهْرِ لَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْئًا مَذْكُورًا, until the end of the surah in the second rak'ah. And that reminds us of the end that is awaiting every one of us. This life is not going to be permanent for us. We will die someday, somehow, when our destiny is there and we have reached the end of our life, and we will be held accountable for everything that we do. Therefore, Jumu'ah is a stronger connection with Allah and with the community, as the 5 daily prayers help us to get connected with Allah on a constant basis and to be united in consolidating our relationships with the rest of the community. Then Jumu'ah gets us into a higher level, and then Ramadan gets us even higher, and then we higher and higher with Hajj, as Islam builds in us the sense of unity, sense of solidarity, the sense of togetherness and helping each other to be better human beings and watch over each other and try to help one another and spread peace, tranquility, and understanding and cooperation in the best fashion. And Salah helps us so much in that. How could you expect Muslims to be united when, astaghfirullah, according to some research and observation, only maybe 5% of Muslims in every locality, almost, I wouldn't say that every locality, but many of the local areas and towns only offer prayer. I did see that in Australia, in the United States, in the United Kingdom, in France, in Austria, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in many places that I've been to, and even in some Arab countries and the sub-Indian continent, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all of these various countries, how many who are saying we are Muslims, yet they don't offer the prayer? What a shame that we don't offer the salah that connects us with Allah. And yet we say we are Muslims. We say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. What does it help us if we don't put it into a practice? And Jumu'ah in this respect is so important. In Jumu'ah we also read, it is a sunnah to read Surah Al-Kahf, and especially the first 10 ayahs or the last 10 ayahs in this regard. And there is 1 hour or a time from when the Imam and the Khatib climbs the pulpit until he comes down, completes his prayer, or after Asr until sunset, where this is going to be an answering hour and time. And no one would raise his hands or her hands in these moments except that Allah would answer their dua. So we need to be involved. Let's be engaged with Salah, and let's have Jumu'ah as the best meeting of the week. And again, take it as a charge to go on during the rest of the week in our prayer, helping ourselves to be better Muslims. This is what we always need to concentrate on, because really time is important, and we can never escape all the pressures of the society, all the pressures and challenges of life when we are faced by this. And the only thing that can relieve us from that and teach us and guide us and keep us on the straight path is the Salah, especially the Jumu'ah prayer. Until I see you in the coming episode, I leave you with Allah's care and protection. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi. Wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.